going to be breaking down the Fight Pass prelims from the bottom all the way up to the Fight Pass prelims headliners. So without further ado, we'll just kick it off with Evan Dunham. The return of Evan Dunham versus Herbert Burns, which is Gilbert Burns' brother. I don't know what weight classes is going to be contested at. It doesn't really say so, but guessing is going to be at 155.
150.
150?
Yeah, catch weight.
Okay. Herbert Burns, like I mentioned, is Gilbert Burns' younger brother, I think. This year,
I think so.
It's his younger brother, but not by a lot. Gilbert is 33, and this guy is 32. So a little bit of a late debut for Herbert Burns, the brother. He debuted at 31 years old, but Herbert should win this fight. I mean, he looked good in the debut. He knocked out Nate Landwehr with that knee, brutal knee at that, and that was actually his first knockout win on his career. Before that, it was just mainly triangles, arm bars, things like that. So Herbert's just like his brother, he's got a good ground game. I still don't know much about him, but if Gilbert is any inclination on how Herbert is doing, so I'm guessing he's probably got some pretty dangerous stand up as well and some dangerous jiu-jitsu. So with that said, I don't even know. I mean, Dunham has been retired for a little while, hasn't he? For 2 years, I believe, and before that, he was coming off of 2 knockouts due to knees. And Dunham, that wasn't the first 2 times that he's been knocked out due to a knee. Melvin Guillard also hit him to the body and put him out. Edson Barboza hit him to the body, put him out. Donald Cerrone was hitting him to the body before he got caught in that triangle choke. So Dunham is very susceptible to getting hit to the body, and Herbert Burns knocked out his last opponent with a knee. So I'm expecting him to probably crack Dunham here to the body as well, who is 38 years old, coming out of retirement, and Dunham's a veteran. I mean, he's fought a ton of people. Like, his resume, shines over Herbert's, resume like, tenfold. But he's old, coming out of retirement, and maybe he needs a check or something. I'm not sure, But give me Herbert by finish, by knee, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't really say too much about it just because I don't know too much about Herbert. But that's my pick.
Yeah. I know that Herbert is a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Both.
So they're both high level black belts. I'm not sure. I assume that Gilbert's better. I'm not really, but I guess it doesn't really matter in this matchup because they're not fighting each other. But so he's Herbert's high level black belt. How it applies to MMA, I'm not really sure since I haven't seen too much of his jiu-jitsu myself, but how they match up, how Dunham and Herbert Burns match up in this fight. We have Dunham. He is 5'10", I believe. Let me open this page. I forgot to open it. We have one moment.
Yeah, 5'10".
So we have Evan Dunham. He's 5'10", and Herbert Burns is 5'9". Dunham has a 70 inch reach, and Herbert Burns has a 73 inch reach. Dunham is a southpaw. He's listed as a southpaw, and Burns is listed as an orthodox fighter. Burns is 7 years younger, or 6.5 around there. And significant strikes landed per minute, we have 5.35 for Dunham, and Burns, you can't really take that. You can't take it because he only had that one fight, right? Yeah. So. And
Dunham is a very high volume guy. He's got a really good 1-2,
Yeah. So he's definitely high volume. So I think that if Dunham was in his prime or just could take a shot, then I would pick Dunham here. But I'm picking Burns here just because Dunham has, just like you said, he's taken all that time off. His last fight was in September of 2018, and he retired. And then he was going to come back earlier this year, but it got canceled. He was supposed to fight Michael Johnson in April, but that got canceled due to the virus thing. And then he got rescheduled, and he took this fight for the first time ever. He's fighting at 150. He's a lifelong 155er. So not only is he fighting at 150 for the first time ever, he's coming off from like a year and a half off, or even more than a year and a half off from since his last fight, and he had retired. He's 38 years old right now. He'll be 39 later this year in December. And he's shown that he can't take a shot anymore, and his body is weak. So he got knocked out in his last 2 fights, and he can't take a shot like he used to. So not that Herbert Burns is like more skilled. It's just that he has a lot more. He's just fresher. He's younger. He could take a better shot, and he's not going to get subbed by Evan Dunham. Dunham's only chance here is to win, I guess, via decision. I guess maybe.
Maybe volumes him or outboxes him or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But...
So I don't know. It's just I'm going to be picking Herbert. I'm going to be playing his TKO prop if it's anything decent. Did I bet this at all yet? Yeah, I did bet it. So I have 2 bets on the prelim fights, or sorry, the prelim cards. So I have 2 units already on Dunham and Burns inside the distance at -170. So I'm risking 3.4 units to win 2 units. So I think Burns will finish it inside the distance, and I guess this will be Dunham's official retirement, and he's getting that last paycheck that he needs. I think he's just returning for that paycheck. So yeah, Burns inside the distance, and so long, Mr. Dunham.
Yeah, I mean Dunham's he's had a lot of good fights in the past.
Yeah,
had a lot of wars, a ton of wear and tear on his body. So Herbert, fresher dude, fresher body, so he should definitely win. But yeah, I still don't know enough about him. So, but yeah, I expect another knee to the body. That's how you beat Dunham. If Herbert isn't training that, then I don't know what's wrong with him, but he should be training knees. He knocked out his last 2 with a knee, so yeah, I expect that. So
yeah.
All right, moving on. The next one should be a quick one. Alonzo Menifield versus Devin Clark. This is a light heavyweight bout. Alonzo is -230. The comeback on Devin Clark is +190. My nickname for Devin Clark is Devin Chins Up Clark.
I was thinking the Chinless Wonder, but yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, either way. It's Devin Chins Up Clark. At some point in this fight, he is going to serve his chin on a silver platter and do something really, really clumsy. He's going to try to do something like some type of spin or some type of weird athletic move, or maybe like, maybe he fights for the. I mean, maybe he'll clinch up too much and like be too desperate for the clinch and get cracked on the break or something like that. But Menifield is going to crack him and put him out cold at some point in this fight. So as long as Menifield, has more than 1 round of cardio, maybe 2 rounds of cardio or something, just in case he does get pressed against the fence and Devin desperately clinches up and hold on for dear life. But if Clark is able to hold on for dear life and maybe possibly tire Alonzo out somehow, some way, maybe he can win. But yeah, if you want to win in MMA, you bet against Devin Clark, and this is not anything different. So Alonzo Menifield by first round knockout.
Okay, I was actually thinking not round 1. The reason why I was thinking not round 1, I was actually thinking it right as you're breaking it down. The reason why I was thinking not round 1 because
Devin Clark, bro.
Well, Devin Clark.
Devin Clark.
Well, Devin Clark. I'm giving Devin Clark the benefit of the doubt that he knows what Menifield, what his out is, and that he's going to be the most dangerous in that first round. And Devin Clark knows it. He definitely doesn't want to take a shot by him, but maybe he knows that his chin isn't that great. I see round 1 going slow, and I see Devin Clark throwing low kicks, not like hard low kicks or anything, but just kind of like poking and throwing low kicks and just staying on the outside. And then when Menifeld tries to counter that, with a counter hook or something like that, that's when Devin Clark's going to try to go for a takedown. And if he can't get that takedown, he's going to drive him to the fence and just kind of like, kind of stall and stuff like that and try to win the round that way and like kind of do knees to the thigh and all that bullshit that doesn't actually do any damage. So I think that Menifeld could definitely finish in that first round, but I think that Devin Clark's going to slow it down, and he's going to try to slow it down enough to where he could at least take it to the second round and kind of go from there. But I want to see I definitely want to see Menifeld win. I want to see him climb the ranks, but I have a feeling that people who think he's going to get that round one finish and like put him in their DK lineups, that they're going to be sad when he's not able to get off, because he's not a high volume striker at all. He's like a low volume striker.
Yeah,
So
because he puts guys out, so
yeah,
not really much volume to be done.
If he can't get that first round finish, he's gonna score shitty point, like a low amount of points, and he's gonna return a shitty price. And he's definitely going to be expensive on DK, on DraftKings. So there's that. So I'm not sure what the price is on DraftKings or FanDuel, but I think that I'll be keeping that in mind when I'm putting my team together, that Menifeld might not get that first round finish. So he might be a pass.
I mean, if you're asking for a heart attack, then go for it. Take the over or whatnot. But I'm on Menifeld knockout. So.
Yeah.
All right. There's not really much else to say about this one.
Yeah.
Clark, he's got no fundamentals. Like he's like over here trying to like do like extra shit. Like he's like doing some. I don't know. He's doing too much, and I think if he makes like one mistake, it's just over for him. So
yeah.
The only way I see a path for him is just if he's able to catch that clinch and just tire Alonso out. Get him on his back, tire him out, make him work or something like that. Because Alonso been, he knocks guys out pretty early, and we haven't seen him into the second, third round yet. So that's pretty much a mystery right there. So I'm not saying Alonso is like a world beater, but the dude has heavyweight power. So
that's
yeah. Anybody with a heavyweight power against Devin Clark, I'm definitely going to bet him.
Yeah. Well, so he trains at Menifeld. He trains at Fortis MMA. Which is a good gym over in Texas, along with I think the worst person at that gym is Charles Bird, who's on this card, and everyone else is pretty good. They have what's his face, Jeff Neal. They have I think there's like 3 or 4 good guys who train out of there. I just can't think of all the names, but yeah. So do you think that Devin Clark is the best guy that Menifeld has faced in his last 3 fights?
Probably. I mean, if you want to say that, but I don't want to put Devin Clark in the word best in any sentence. So
yeah. All right.
So yeah. All right. But yeah, easy pick for me. So yeah. All right, moving on. So this man, why are flyweights so disrespected, man? I don't understand. This should be the prelim tailiner. Anyways, GCA Formiga versus Alex Perez, flyweight bout. Alex Perez is the favorite. He is -140. The comeback on GCA Formiga is +120. Formiga is a well-respected fighter. We know he's a back taker extraordinaire. We know this already. He's training out of Novo União, so he's got some striking to add on to his style too. But he's not mainly a striker. He's more of a guy who's gonna clinch up with you. And get to your back by any means necessary. And Alex Perez, I'm really high on him. I'm a big fan of his style. Kind of another guy, one of those guys where he doesn't have really much name value, but super duper talented. I really like everything that he does. Anytime he fights, I'm like, I can't say much enough about him. He did have that hiccup against Joseph Benavidez, which lost me some money. Kind of pissed me off too. But other than that hiccup, he's looked great. He hasn't fought that much good competition yet, though. However, that's the only thing I'm a little bit worried for this bet. But what he's shown me is a really diverse skill set. He's got really, really good wrestling. He trains with a good team with Team Oyama. his striking is like dude's got a lot of variety in his striking, and his submission game is on point as well. So he's got a great front headlock choke. He's got some great chokes on his in his repertoire, and striking wise, like the guy throws great jabs. He's got a great overhand right. He's got really good volume. Um, he's got really great low calf kicks. This guy's just overall really good fighter. Um, really skilled dude. Kind of a quiet dude though, so I don't know how much you know fanfare he's gonna get just because he's kind of a mild mannered dude. But yeah, man, this guy's got all great all around skills, and I think he's gonna beat Juicy Formiga here. He's gonna outstrike him. Formiga does have the ability to ride anybody out when he takes their back and win rounds that way. He does have a win over Davison Figueiredo and Sergio Pettis in his last 2 wins. So that's always it's always out there. But Formiga is 35 years old now. He's getting up there in age. He's 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Brandon Moreno in his last fight, who was a very wildly high energetic dude, and I think Perez could also match that intensity and just be really energetic, throw some volume out there and just really beat Formiga, out hustle him, and stay away from getting his back taken and possibly scramble out of any bad situations that he might get into. But yeah, I like Alex Perez here at -140. I really like the price as well. Maybe some money might come in on Formiga just because of the name value. But 140, I'm not mad at that price. I'm already on it. So yeah, a little bit less confident in my aforementioned no Magny pick, but I definitely like the play here, and I'm gonna drop a little bit more on it as the days continue to progress.
Yeah.
I also am going to drop some money on his decision line at plus 160. I like that price. If he gets any lower than 160, I might just stick to his money line. But yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I'm just kind of eyeing the line movement. But 160, definitely that's my strike price right there. I'm gonna drop 2 units on that, which is $100. But yeah, yep, that's me right there. Also the over. I'm guessing the over is probably gonna hit as well. So
yeah. Yeah. For me, I also really like Alex Perez in this fight. It's I don't know, it's weird because like I think in my mind I'm just waiting for the line to improve because I have a feeling it's gonna improve. So I'm not sure how much I'm gonna bet on Perez. It's not gonna be a max bet, but it's gonna be at least 3 units for like my online bankroll, $5 bankroll, and then probably like at least 300 for my when I'm in Vegas. So how I see this playing out is, or actually before I even say that, let me go through their stats real quick. We have Formiga. He is how old is he? Basically, there's a 7-year age difference between the two of them, and Formiga is 7 years older than Perez. Formiga is 5 feet 5 inches tall. Perez is 5 feet 6 inches tall. 1 inch difference there for Perez, and then we have a 67-inch reach for Formiga and a 65-inch reach for Perez, so it's a 2-inch reach advantage for Formiga, but I mean he's not good with his hands anyway, so that doesn't really matter. They're both listed as orthodox.
He's gotten better over the years, but yeah.
I mean I have always liked his kicks, but I mean his hands are like nothing like special. But yeah, his kicks are people underrate his kicks for sure. Formiga. They're not hard, but he throws a decent amount of them when he doesn't try to take you down. So yeah, I mentioned that, the age. And then we have strikes landed per minute. We have Formiga at 1.35. That's a given because he barely, he's always trying to take you down, or he'll just ride your back for a decision for the most part. Then we have Alex Perez, 4.48. So he's like basically a lot more. He throws a lot more strikes, which is obvious. And then we have, so this is where it gets kind of tricky because Alex Perez is a good wrestler and he has 3.27 takedowns average per 15 minutes, which is a good number. But then we have Formiga, who has a different style of getting you down and he just rides your back. So he doesn't like a lot of his, so he's only at 1.87 for his takedown So his takedown averages per 15 minutes says 1.87 versus 3.27 for Perez. And that's kind of skewed just because Formiga just like he'll get you against a fence and then he'll get on your back and he'll ride you out. And then so he doesn't get traditional takedowns, so he's not getting those points added to him. So that's another thing to think about if you're going to roster him on your DraftKings or FanDuel. He's not going to get the traditional takedowns, so he's not going to get those 5 points for each of those takedowns. So there's that. Whereas Perez, he actually gets a couple takedowns in all of his fights at least. So the reason why I'm picking Perez here, and I really like Perez, aside from what you mentioned, Perez is the better striker, both technique with his hands and his feet. He has more power in his hands. He throws a lot more volume in his hands. He's a better pure wrestler. I think he has what it takes to keep Formiga off his back. His movement is decent. We saw what's his face? We saw Perez face guys who are fast and scrambly, or I'm not even sure that's the right word, but people who are fast and scramble well, like Eric Shelton. So he outclassed Shelton. He got five.
Just before you continue though, like I always say, and every time there's a flyweight fight, it's always two squirrels fighting over a net.
Yeah,
it'd be like that.
Yeah.
Flyweight fights, yeah. Well, go ahead.
We have Alex Perez. He fought this guy named Eric Shelton, who was a decent fighter, not great, but he's a decent fighter. He's always trying to get you down and kind of do all that stuff on the ground, like grapple and whatnot. So Alex Perez, he beats Eric Shelton. He got 5 takedowns on him, and he stopped Eric Shelton from getting him down. And then he knocked out Jose Shorty Torres, who was overrated in that fight. I think Torres was the favorite in that fight by a little bit, if I remember correctly. And then he faced Joseph Benavidez. He ate a headbutt, and then he got TKO'd, if I remember correctly, against Benavidez. And then he beat Mark De La Rosa, who's a pure jiu-jitsu guy. Alex Perez took him down twice, and he won a unanimous decision. And then his most recent fight, which I was kind of worried about, was against Jordan Espinosa, just because Jordan Espinosa.
That was a max bet for me, the finish.
Yeah, so Jordan Espinosa, he's like really, really fast, faster than Perez and Formiga. It's not even close. Formiga's not that fast, but Espinosa is like super fast. He's like in and out, and I was just worried that he might land something on Perez and just kind of maybe rock him, but. Again, Perez, he handled that quick. He got that sub arm triangle on Espinosa and took care of him pretty fast in that first round. I think it was halfway through the first round. So I feel really confident in Perez here. He's well rounded and he knows how to win. And I would still take him over at Benavidez if they were to rematch. So yeah, I'm picking Perez here. And I'm betting at least 3 units online for his money line, and at least 300 in Vegas for sure.
Yep. I'm on it. And just a quick, fun fact too. I think Perez is like the captain of one of the the leaders at Team Oyama too.
Mm-hmm.
Young dude though. He's 28 years old, but a lot of those guys that took Oyama are pretty young as well. But he's a really good fighter. I really like him. So
yeah,
I will continue to bet on him until he maybe gets to Davidson Figueiredo. I would love to see that fight. That would be an awesome fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Also to mention, he's a pretty big flyweight himself too. I think he cuts a ton of weight.
Yeah, I noticed that too. He looks he's like wide, like his upper body. It's kind of wide for flyweight, and he's not short either. So it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I mean, like I said, this fight should have been really higher up on the card, but for whatever reason it ain't. So whatever. All right, moving on. The next fight, middleweight bout, we have Charles Byrd versus Maki Coconut Bombs Pitolo. Coconut bombs.
Oh man.
Coconut bombs. I don't know if I like it or I hate it, but like it sounds good to say. Coconut bombs.
It sounds good. But that's where it stops.
Yeah. So we got an island versus Charles Bird from what campus is it again?
Fortis MMA.
Fortis MMA. Okay, so this fight, these guys are kind of on the lower end of the totem pole when it comes to welterweight or middleweight. Where's this fight being held at? Here?
This one's going to be at short notice at middleweight. So
Middleweight. Okay.
Patolo's going up in weight.
I got it. Okay, got it. So Charles Bird, yeah, again, like he's kind of on the lower scale of the guys, so I won't go too deep into it. But Charles Bird, 36 years old, a little bit on the older end. He is a front runner. So if this guy he comes out hot, he'll come out hot and try to finish you in the first 2 rounds or not. And if he doesn't finish you within the first or second round, he gasses out and gives the fight away. So that's pretty much his style. You know, he pretty much just go balls out in the first round or two. Coconut Bombs, on the other hand, is a guy who he's more of a like a high volume guy. You know, he throws in combinations, but he doesn't throw with it. He doesn't throw like full power, like Charles Bird does. And yeah, he'll try to pick at you, and if you don't put Maki Patolo away, he'll put the volume on you and try to pick you apart. Now, so early on, if Charles Bird wins, he's probably gonna put Maki Patolo out early. But if he doesn't, then I see Maki Patolo coming back and winning the latter half of the fight. So that's a no bet for me. And the odds are Charles Bird at -170. The comeback on Patolo is +150. Yeah, that's a no bet for me. So, yep.
For me, I am picking Bird in this fight. I'm not super confident or anything like that, but I'm picking Bird by submission, and I'm hoping to get a decent line on that. If it's not a decent line, then I'm passing on the fight altogether. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned Bird's cardio, but in Patolo's last fight, he lost to this guy named Callan Potter, and he gassed out in that fight. So Potter's terrible, but Patolo made Potter look like he's elite or something like that. So he gassed out, I think, during the first round, and he was done for that second and third round. So I think that let me talk about the stats. So Patolo is a 5'9" welterweight who's taking this fight at middleweight against Charles Bird. Charles Bird he's only 5'10", so he's not like he's going to be a much bigger guy or anything like that. But so they're similar in height. I think that Charles Bird's going to be able to he's going to be able to get him down at some point. He's going to be able to submit him. But if he can't get that first maybe first round and a half, first round or maybe like within the first 7 minutes, if he can't get that sub, then it's going to be kind of anyone's game at that point, or anyone's win. So Charles Bird early, or if it doesn't get finished early, then it's gonna it's up in there on who could win. Pass for me, but I think if you're playing DraftKings or FanDuel, these guys are someone who you want to focus on because they're likely to finish.
Yep, that's it for me.
Yeah.
All right. Next fight is a really good one. I'm not sure if this is a featherweight fight or
bantamweight.
These guys are bantamweights, but on the website it says featherweight. So I don't know if they're like fighting at featherweight here, but either way, okay, these guys are bantamweights. Really fun fight. I like this one. Cody Stamann versus Brian Kelleher. Kelleher is making a quick turnaround after that really clean left hook knockout he got 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. The odds are pretty damn wide. We have -280 for Cody Stamann, and Brian Kelleher is +240. Give me some Brian Kelleher. I don't think the odds should be that wide. I think Cody Stamann is a good fighter. He should have beat Song Yadong.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good fighter. He's very tricky. He's a all-around type guy. He doesn't really have too much power, not much finishing ability, but he could really write out decisions and stuff. But I like Kelleher here, man. Kelleher 2.0. I don't know, man. He looked sharp out there in that fight. I know Zur isn't really Zur was making his debut, I believe, or something like that. But I know Azure is a younger dude with not much experience. But man, that that you couldn't get a cleaner left hook off than what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Kelleher is a fucking a wily veteran. He's been there, done that. He's fought a ton of people. He's he's taken some losses. He's got some good wins. He's a very good all around fighter. He could wrestle himself too. I wouldn't count him out in the wrestling department here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's got the better striking than Cody Stamann. Cody Stamann's not a bad striker himself, but I just I like that Kelleher is a he's a pretty dogged, like he fights for your money. He fights like an underdog,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that his striking could shine here over Stamann if Stamann can't get his wrestling going. And Kelleher, we know that he's got those vicious guillotines as well, so that might be a weapon here against Cody Stamann if Cody sticks his head where it don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, 240. That's a wide line for me. And if Cody does win, it's gonna be by decision.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be like a pseudo hedge where I'll put money on Kelleher here, and then I'll have money on the over 2.5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because the over 2.5 really just means Cody Stamann won the fight, because that's how Cody Stamann wins, and that's how Stamann would win this fight. But yeah, I like Kelleher here, and I'm expecting to play some props when it does come out. But when the line comes out, I'm going to take Kelleher at plus 3.5 points handicap.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also going to take his no scorecard line as well. His decision line is his decision line is plus 635. I'm definitely going to put money on that. Like, even though I mean, there might be a possible chance that Kelleher, maybe wins by knockout, but if you know me, I love decision lines, and anything above that line, especially for smaller like weight fighters, anything that ludicrous 635. Oh man, you better believe I'm on that shit. Like, I haven't put any money on it yet, just because that shit just keeps climbing up and climbing up. So if it gets a little higher, I might just wait. But 635, man, I'm pulling the trigger on that. Probably as soon as we finish up, I'm going to put some money on that. But yeah, I love Kelleher here. The odds are a little too wide. I think a little more accurate line would be Cody Stamann negative 180
Mm-hmm.
and Kelleher plus 140. But yeah, 240, that's outrageous. I don't know why people want to make that line so wide. I mean, Kelleher looked really good in his last two fights. Like, yeah, I don't understand it. So yeah, I'm on Kelleher here.
Yeah.
For the odds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think you're gonna get some good not some, but I think you're gonna get a good price on Kelleher's no scorecards. I think it's gonna be plus odds, and kind of like Gutierrez. I had a couple of units on Gutierrez. No, on his no scorecards, it was plus 190.
Lovely.
It was basically a free roll last week.
That knockout line for him was a plus 1,000 on Gutierrez.
Oh, was it? Dang,
Yeah.
nice. I didn't even see that. Oh no, I did see it. I had a half a unit. That's right. Yeah,
Nice.
I did. Yeah. What's it called? Let me see here. So for some reason, I thought that Brian Kelleher was much taller than he actually is. I checked his wiki page and fight metric, and it shows Cody Stamann, who I think of as a short guy, which he is. He's at 5 feet 6 inches, and Brian Kelleher, he's listed at 5 feet 6 inches as well. Which is interesting. Okay, so let me see here. Kelleher beats Hunter Azure, and Hunter is 5'8", and then before that he beat Ode Osborne, who's 5'7". Okay, all right. So I'm not even sure. Like, I do favor Stamann here, just because he has the superior wrestling, and he's going to be able to use that and win like that. It's going to be a low volume, boring fight in my opinion. So if he's going to win, if Stamann's going to win it, he needs to use his wrestling. Otherwise, it's going to be a close fight on the feet. What's called Kelleher has more power, and he has the better jiu-jitsu. Let's see, what's the reach? We have 64-inch reach for Stamann, 66-inch reach for Kelleher. It shows orthodox for Stamann, and it shows a switch for Kelleher. I can't remember if he switches or not. He must if it shows this. Do you remember if he switches stance, Kelleher?
Kelleher, yeah, he does switch stance, yeah.
Okay, so a switch stance. So basically,
I think
Kelleher.
Cody does as well. Cody switches as well.
Okay. We have okay. There's that. All right. So we have Cody Stamen. It shows 4.25 significant strikes landed per minute, so 4.25, and then for Kelleher it's 4.65. So they're both throwing and landing a good amount of strikes. Takedown average per 15 minutes, it's 3.58 for Stamen, which is high, and then 1.26 for Kelleher. And takedown defense, they're about the same. It shows at 86 versus 84%. But I think that I agree with what you said about the line is too wide. I was even looking at Stamen's decision line. It's minus 140. I'm not paying.
Ugly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm never paying a minus number for a decision line. I don't give a shit who it is. Like maybe if it's like a women's fight, it goes to it like over 2.5 or something like that. But like I would never pay minus 140 for Stamen to win a decision here. But yeah, so I'm leaning towards Stamen via decision. Maybe I'll check out the props, like some of the ones you said, like the no scorecards. But as of right now, I don't plan to bet this one. So we'll see. I mean, put a few of those free drinks in me in the casino. I mean, who knows what I'll do? But at the moment, at the moment, I don't plan to bet this fight.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Brian Kelleher, he's had some pretty fun fights.
Yeah. In his last fight, in his last fight against Azure was coming out hot and heavy. He was landing on the strikes. He was fast, but he started to gas towards the end of that round. Second round, he came out looking flat, and you saw what happened.
Hunter looks like he cuts a ton of weight because that dude yoked up, you know.
Yeah. I do know that through all 15 minutes, Stamen will land. He'll keep landing those, like he won't slow down with the strikes. He'll keep landing, but same with Kelleher. So that's interesting. They're both going to keep landing. So I agree with it you said, and let's move on, I guess.
Yeah. One thing too, I wanted to mention. I know in the past, I know they're not training together now, but Brian Kelleher does train with Aljamain Sterling as well. I think before the virus, they were training together, and I know Aljamain Sterling had a lot of good things to say about Kelleher. He said, his guillotine choke is no joke, and then the fact that Kelleher just is a really good guy he's really good at finding ways to win just because he's been around the game for so long. So that's something to mention too. And we know Sterling has a win over Cody Stamen, but I don't think they're training together for this camp, so I guess that's irrelevant. But anyways, moving on. So we have a middleweight bout. Ian Heinisch versus Gerald Meerschaert. Ian is negative 125. The comeback on Gerald is plus 105. Ian is a very dogged wrestler. He's he's the name of the game for him is just hustle. This guy's a hustler, and he's I know he's a jailbird as well, so he's built tough, super tough dude. He has a pretty solid chin. However, like offensively, he seemed a little bit limited. But he gets by on just out hustling dudes and being tougher than them and just being meaner than them, and that's pretty much how he gets it done. He's an okay wrestler, not a great wrestler. He's an okay striker, not a great striker. I think in the striking realm, all he's pretty much has is that right hand. And in this fight, Gerald Meerschaert, guard player, kind of a slow, lumbering dude, not very athletic, but he's got multiple different types of submissions in his repertoire. He's got that left body kick going on for him. Okay hands, but not too much. But so Gerald, he's more of he has terrible takedown defense. He gets taken down by everybody he fights, but it's not really a good position to be in his guard anyways. And Gerald, again, like I said, he's very dangerous and he can hit submissions from different different positions. So that's the reason why I guess he doesn't mind getting taken down. This fight could either have Ian Heinisch out hustling him to a decision, or Gerald, picks at him, uses his length, and lands those body kicks and possibly gets a choke, or maybe wins a close decision. So this one I don't have a pick on. I don't have a bet on either. But if I were to choose, probably would put a little bit of money on the dog, which is Gerald Meerschaert, just
Mm-hmm.
because he's probably a little bit more better offensively and a little bit longer, and maybe his body kicks do some damage or something like that. But yeah, I'll lean with Gerald Meerschaert. I'll probably put a little bit on it, just not a lot though, just probably just for some action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This fight for me is the most difficult fight on the card to predict a winner. So I mean, the other one would be Bird versus Patolo, but I mean, I don't know. That's just they shouldn't be in the UFC, while Meerschaert and Heinisch, they're low level, but I still think they should be in the UFC. So as far as fights that I care about, that I want to bet on, Heinisch and Meerschaert, it's like it's difficult. It's really difficult. Gun to the head, I would choose Gerald Meerschaert because he's taller, longer. He's more likely to get the finish, and he's actually improved lately, which I'm going to go into right now. So people, when they talk about Ian Heinisch, even on the UFC breakdown, or not breakdown, but even on the UFC commercials, like when you watch the event and they start talking about the upcoming fight and and Ian Heinisch is coming up next. Ian Heinisch is like, they're always talking about how he went to prison. If he didn't go to prison, no one would give a shit about him. He's not good anywhere. He's like okay in several spots. Like he's okay at striking, okay with wrestling, but he's not good at jiu-jitsu. His cardio is not great. It's okay. It's not great. He's definitely slowed down in some fights. Let's see here. He's 5'11". Ian Heinisch is 5'11". Gerald Meerschaert is 6'1", so you got 2 inches for Meerschaert in height. The reach discrepancy here is 72 inches for reach for Heinisch and 77-inch reach for Meerschaert, so 5 inches for Meerschaert. We have orthodox stance for Heinisch, southpaw for Meerschaert. They're both around the same age, just like a less than a year difference in age. Significant strikes landed per minute, 3.38, which is kind of average for Heinisch, and 3.32 for Meerschaert. And before his last few fights, Meerschaert's last few fights, I would have said that stat is kind of skewed just because all of his fights end with him finishing or him getting finished. But in his last 3 fights in particular, his last 3 fights, so he beat Trevin Giles by sub in the first round, sub in the third round, and then he lost to Eric Anders in a close fight. It was a split decision loss against Eric Anders. Meerschaert landed 72 significant strikes. Anders landed 64. So that's in that fight. What impressed me was his output. He actually showed improvement in that fight. And he showed improvement in his previous fight too, but as far as the output, his striking output, he showed me that he could actually throw a decent amount of strikes, which is the first time he's ever thrown that many in the UFC. So 72 is his highest. Then in his next fight, he fought that little midget, Deron Wynn. He finished Deron Wynn in the third round via sub, but before that, he landed 86 significant strikes against Deron Wynn. So his striking is he doesn't have good striking, Meerschaert, but it's actually improving. He's throwing a lot more output. His hands look a little bit more technical, and he's actually throwing more kicks. He has a pretty decent kick to the body, which I think we might see here. And he's not, if he gets taken down, he'll go for subs. He'll go for sweeps. He'll scramble. He's not gonna let Heinisch, if he gets him down, he's not gonna let Heinisch do any damage from the top. So
yeah, I don't think Heinisch has the ability to hold him down for too long unless Gerald just kind of lays there, which is possible as well. But yeah, I don't think Heinisch has the jiu-jitsu to hold him down, but I do think he has the takedown ability to get him down though.
Possibly. So with his wrestling, his limited wrestling ability, plus the fact that Meerschaert is, he's kind of not willing to go down, but he'll give up the takedowns.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why he just does that sometimes.
Yeah. So let's see here. In Heinish's 4 fights in the UFC, his first fight was against Cesar Ferreira. So he won a decision over Cesar Ferreira. Cesar got him down 5 times. Ian Heinisch got him down 1 time. Cesar just basically held him down. He didn't really do any offense.
Yeah, and Heinrich he just kept coming. Like he was pushing a high pace in that fight and just grinded them out.
Yeah. But still, it was only 55 strikes. So, but I remember it being high paced. So 55 strikes, keep that in mind. And then his next fight, he beat Antonio Carlos Jr. Antonio Carlos Jr. took him down 4 times. Heinisch took him down once. Heinisch won by decision, and he won.
Another guy he out hustled.
He landed 39 strikes. Heinisch.
Okay.
Pretty
low volume.
And in his next fight, he lost to Derek Brunson via decision. Brunson landed 81 strikes and 2 takedowns versus no takedowns and 58 strikes for Heinisch. So 58 strikes is his high point right now. His next fight, he lost to Omari Akhmedov. Akhmedov took him down twice and landed 55 strikes. Ian Heinisch took him down. He took Akhmedov down 3 times and landed 53 strikes. So he lost that fight. I actually don't remember how that played out. So I don't know if it was a robbery or not. But either way, I do know that Akhmedov does gas in the 3rd round, and I'm not sure when Heinisch got his takedowns, but Akhmedov is known for gassing. So his highest or the most amount of strikes he's landed in his 4 fights that all went to a decision is 58. And let's go back to Meerschaert. So Meerschaert, he's shown improvements. He's the underdog. He's shown that he could land a lot more than Heinisch. A gun to the head, I'll pick Meerschaert here, but I don't plan to have any bet on this fight as of now. But yeah, I guess I'm leaning towards Meerschaert as the dog. Just more ways to win, and he's shown improvements, whereas the Jailbird is just, I don't know, he's just staying stagnant for my liking. He's not really growing as much as I would hope that he would.
Yeah, I think middleweight, 205, and heavyweight are very inconsistent divisions to bet on. So with a ton of inconsistent fighters, so like Gerald Meerschaert losing to Eric Anders is I would definitely bet on Gerald Meerschaert here against Ian Heinisch, but his loss to Eric Anders, like, it's kind of inexcusable. Eric Anders is pretty predictable. He does one thing: he throws the left hand and he marches forward. And that's kind of what Heinisch does. He marches forward, throws one move, which is his right hand.
Yeah.
So like if Gerald's having close fights with Eric Anders, I wouldn't trust my money on him. But I am leaning with him to win as well. So yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Prelims headliner, we have Alex Caceres versus Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper is the favorite at -160, and the comeback on Alex Caceres is +140. I don't think this is a very high level fight. I know a lot of people like Chase Hooper for whatever reason, maybe because he's a I don't know, like marketable or something. I'm not sure. But both these guys are kind of they look like the black version versus and the white version. Oh, I'm sorry, Caceres is not black.
He's Hispanic. What is he, Cuban or Dominican? He's one of those two.
He might be Cuban. Yeah. Whoops. No offense. Yeah, they're both lanky dudes with funky hair. So it's gonna be a fun fight in that sense, because when both guys get punched, their hair kind of gets all wild and like it looks more dramatic than it is.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the funny part. But just real quick, I mean, Alex Caceres, we know who he is. We've seen him over the years. He's very, very inconsistent guy. He's a 500 type fighter. He's a high volume guy with not really much power. He's a tricky dude on the feet. Very he's kind of entertaining, just because he's he does throw pretty, he throws a lot of volume and stuff. But Hooper, I mean, like I said, Caceres at some point in this fight, like a lot of times in his fights, he gets into split decisions just because he gets taken down and doesn't really have high fight IQ. But he's a tricky veteran type guy. Chase Hooper, on the other hand, I don't think he's very good at all. I don't know what people see in him, but I mean, if I could say something nice about him, like he's got a good. I mean, his ground game is pretty decent. Like He's I don't think his. The reason why I'm saying this about him is because I saw him in that Dana White fight where he fought the Hawaiian dude,
Yeah.
and he was getting his ass whooped in that
Yeah.
fight. Like this dude was getting cracked left and right, and like
Yeah.
he looked like he was walking around with two left feet. Like
Mhm.
his striking looks terrible. He doesn't look very strong. But he is pretty tall, like a tall, lanky dude who if he grabs a hold of you, like kind of like an octopus, like he could drag you into his game and pull you into his guard, make you work a little bit, and his ground and pound looks pretty good though.
Mhm.
When he does get you to his positioning, which is on the ground. He's got something there. I think he's a brown belt, I believe. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty close fight because Alcaceres fights down to his competition, and I mean, I'm not even gonna say down because they probably are in the same like skill level as each other. But Alex Caceres is gonna have the better striking here, but Chase Hooper is gonna be much better on the ground. I don't know how to break this one down, but I mean, Caceres does tend to, for some reason, find his way to the on the mat, and if that's the case, then I'm guessing Hooper's probably going to win.
Mhm.
But if he doesn't go to the ground with Hooper, then I can see Caceres just picking him apart. So simple as that. I don't see a high ceiling on Hooper like some people do.
Yeah.
Just because this guy's striking is terrible, and he's just, I don't know, he seems not very, seems like an awkward kid. But no, nice kid though. I mean, he seems like a cool cat. He had that funny video with Masvidal where he was pretending to be Askren's son. That
Yeah.
shit cracked me up.
Yeah.
So I remember him because of that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna say Chief Super because because Caceres fell into his guard. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Funny enough, both of Askren's sons are on this card. Chase Hooper and O'Malley.
That is fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking... All right,
All right.
that's entertaining. Yeah.
we have Chase Hooper, who is, so this is at 145 if I remember correctly. Yeah, 145. Chase Hooper is 6 feet 1 inch. Alex Caceres is 5 feet 10 inches. So there's a 3-inch height advantage for Hooper. Hooper has a 74-inch reach. Alex Caceres has a 1-inch. 74 versus 73. So Chase Hooper has a 1-inch reach advantage. They're both listed as southpaws, but Hooper doesn't know how to strike for shit. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, who really gives a shit if he's a southpaw or orthodox?
Exactly.
We have so it's both southpaws. Alex Caceres is 11 years older?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 11
20
years
years old. Hooper's 20. Jeez, he's pretty
Yeah.
young.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's only 20 and Alex Caceres is 11 years older. So I looked earlier today and I didn't realize Alex Caceres has been in the UFC for 9 years and 3 months.
Yeah.
It's
Been in there for
crazy.
a while. He still looks pretty young too.
Yeah.
Physically, he looks young.
I remember watching that season when he was on Tough, and I was like, dang, I don't remember it being 9 years ago. Dang. It was even more than that because Tough was before that, before his UFC debut. So it was like 9.5. It's like 9 because they usually do like a 6-month deal. So it's like 9 years and 9 months or something like that. Crazy. Anyway, so what happened here is, should I even mention their other stats? So we got Alex Caceres strikes landed per minute is 3.98. Hooper is 5.16. But he only had that one fight, right, in the UFC. So that stat is skewed. Who did he fight against?
Fought against the bad brother, the Tamer brother.
Oh yeah, little Tamer.
The goofy Tamer brother that is super duper goofy.
Yeah, he gasses in the first round. He doesn't even, so Daniel Tamer.
Goofy person.
Yeah, Daniel Tamer is 5 feet 5 inches, so he's 6 inches shorter. No, is it 6? That's 6.
He was cracking Hooper too.
It's 7. No, he's 8 inches shorter.
Yeah.
He's 8 inches shorter than Hooper, and he basically gasses in the first round. He can never go more than one round without gassing. Daniel Tamer. Anyway, so I'm not going to count Hooper's 5.16 significant strikes stat. Let me see here. What happened with this fight is that I somehow mixed Hooper and O'Malley's skill set together in my brain, and I was thinking that Hooper had decent striking and a good ground game. So I had bet 2.6 units to win two units on Hooper at minus 130. This is from last week.
Yeah.
At least
you got mistaken for one of Askren's sons.
yeah, that's legit what happened. So I missed. Well, I mean, if Hooper wins, then I got a great line because everyone's betting him at like minus 140 to minus 150. What is he right now?
Negative 160.
So he's okay. So he's negative 160. So
I would have that.
So if Hooper wins, then I got a good deal. But I went back and watched tape on Hooper because I was like, how is his striking? I wanted to make sure before I go bigger on him. And then I looked at his striking from the Dana White show, and then I saw that Hawaiian dude would beat his ass. He beat his ass in that first round, and he was gassed after that. That Hawaiian dude hasn't fought in like a year and a half, and he's basically too big for that weight class. He wasn't able to go more than one round without gassing, and Hooper couldn't even finish him. The guy was gassed in the second and third, and Hooper couldn't even finish him. He won by decision. And then Hooper makes his debut. Overrated. He fights that little Tamer midget guy, and he gets the finish, which was expected. But Tamer had him in some in a bad spot. Did you see that fight recently?
Yeah, like when doesn't this guy get in any bad spot? Like if I were the UFC, this guy's 20 years old. If I were the UFC, I would like give him like bottom of the barrel fighters if they plan on like building him up or something like that for whatever reason. But this guy's gonna have TTE by the time he turns like 25, So
yeah,
with the way he fights, if they give him any like legit competition.
Yeah. So what's interesting here is that Caceres is clearly the better striker, better hands, better kicks, but he has pillow fists. He's not going to be knocking Hooper out unless he's like able to. Like Hooper moves a lot, so that's why I don't think he's going to get. Alex Caceres can't get a knockout here. It's just Hooper's just too. He has good movement and good cardio. So Caceres, while he is a better striker and he has a decent ground game, Caceres has been subbed 7 times in his 12 losses. And he is super easy to take down. I might be able to take him down, and I'm not a MMA fighter or anything like that. But Alex Caceres is just like super easy to take down, and he makes it difficult for himself. But what kind of like made me worry about this fight, as far as betting on a Hooper, since I already have money on him, is that Caceres has fought jiu-jitsu guys like Hooper before. They've been shorter and super tall. Let's go back to his record real quick. In the UFC, he beat a short grappler in Mackin Samerzier like a long time ago in his debut. Then he beat Jimmy Hedis, who's a pure jiu-jitsu guy. He beat him. Jimmy Hedis was undefeated and hyped around that time. And then he beat Motonobu Tezuka, who was like this the scrub Japanese guy who's a wrestler and he just wanted to grind, but he ended up was able to like defend that and just like do enough to win a decision. Then he beat this is a good one right here. He beat Kyung Ho Kong, the Korean guy. He beat him by split decision right before he went to the military and took all that time off. So Kong was in his prime at that time as far as like being hyped and stuff like that. So I had a good bet on Kong. So I was tilted when he lost that fight. So that's a good win because Kong is good at wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And then after that, so he beat him by split decision, and I got overturned later on because he was smoking weed. Caceres was, and then in this next fight, Caceres beat this jiu-jitsu guy named Roland Delorme, who's from Canada. And then after that, he fought Sergio Pettis and he was getting his ass kicked on the feet, and then it went to the ground, and he subbed Pettis in the 3rd round. which was a big statement at the time. And then he had a 3-fight losing streak against Faber, this guy from Japan, who's I think is like he has wrestling skills or something like that. And then he got knocked out by Francisco Rivera, who's a heavy puncher. That's pretty much it. He came back. He beat Fulin, who's a scrub, and then he beat Cole Miller, who's a pure jiu-jitsu guy who's tall as hell. He's 6 feet 1 inch. He's the same height as Hooper, and he's better on the ground than Hooper, in my opinion. More declarated for MMA jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt at ATT. Miller is. So he beat Cole Miller. Then he lost a 5-round split decision against Yair Rodriguez, who's a much better striker and also good on the ground in jiu-jitsu. Terrible wrestling, but good at jiu-jitsu and taekwondo or whatever the fuck he trains. So he lost a split decision to Yair. He got subbed by Jason Knight, who's a some type of like kickboxer / jiu-jitsu guy. So that's not it's not a big deal getting subbed by him. And then he got subbed by Kron Gracie, who's the best jiu-jitsu guy in that division. So yeah, I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is Alex Caceres has seen Chase Hooper, his style and his frame. He's seen that many times before. He's seen this style of fight many times before. He's going to be prepared for it. And that's why I'm worried about my bet on Hooper. I don't think Hooper's going to get a finish. He could get a finish, but I don't think he's going to get a finish. He's going to try, and I think he's going to win a decision via takedowns and scrambling. And he could advance to a dominant position and get a TKO. His ground and pound looked pretty vicious in that fight against Tamer. But again, I think he had him like in a triangle, like a standing triangle, or not standing, but he was sitting on his neck and he had him in a triangle, I think. And so that was that. But anyway, so Alex Caceres has seen this matchup many different times before. And I think that, I don't know, I think he might win this one. I don't know. It's just,
I mean, if you can get your money back, like you got him at what, -140?
Negative 130.
130. I would hedge it. I would hedge some of it off and just have a little bit of action on it. Just because, I don't know, man. I can't put money on a guy like Hooper, man. Like he's too young, too green, and too left feet.
Yeah, Caceres is plus 140 right now, so I'll figure out how to do that. I think Hooper's going to keep getting bet down because he's overhyped. He's undefeated. He's undefeated. He has that little hype because he looks like what's his face? Askren's son. And yeah, and Caceres is like a 500 fighter, but it's a bad matchup for Hooper, and I'm definitely going to, the more I talk about it, and since you mentioned it, I'm going to hedge off on Caceres and just kind of just get my money back because I don't want any piece of Hooper in this fight. If he wins, then I'll take him in his next fight, but definitely not this matchup here. I did a little bit of research. I noticed that Caceres, because I've seen every fight he's had since Tough and all of his UFC fights, so I know him really well as far as his skill set and how he does versus certain people. And I've been trying to figure out where's he been. He was in February and March. He was at ATT Sunrise. But since April and May, he legit hasn't posted any, like I can't find any of his own photos like that he might have posted or that he was tagged in. I looked at all of his training partners at ATT Sunrise and even the ones at MMA Lab. No one at MMA Lab or any of the sparring partners or any ATT guys have any pictures with Alex Caceres during all of April and all of May. So I don't know who he's training with or where he's training. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's doing the home gym thing. Who knows? I mean, so
the whole pandemic thing where all these gyms are closed is still up in the air. Like that still hasn't changed yet. Like we don't know how some of these guys' training camps have gone. So we that question is still in the air, like with people's training camps. So we really don't know.
Yeah. Now that I mentioned that I don't think Hooper's gonna beat Caceres, via finish, like submission. And I do think he's going to get the takedowns. Hooper's decision is plus 275. So I might look at betting that. We'll see about it. But either way, I'm going to hedge off on the 2 units that I have on Hooper right now and try to get my money back essentially.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not a high level fight, so I wouldn't put too much on it. So
yeah.
All right. Well, that does it. We broke down the main card, and we broke down the prelims just now. And good luck on your plays. And I will. I mean, I need to see if what my weekend is going to be like. But I might just fuck around and meet you in Vegas for this.
Sounds good. I mean,
yeah. Well,
I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. And all right. And we're out.
Cool.